This is the kind of plan that looks safe on paper, but the second I walked through it, I knew it would ruin Tom and Jennifer's first decade of retirement. It capped their spending too early, forced them to move up Social Security, even pushed them toward paying off a low fixed rate mortgage they should keep. So in this video, I'm tearing up that straight line strategy and walking you through a smarter, more flexible approach that you can apply. One that gave Tom and Jennifer more freedom, more options later, and still keeps everything inside their comfort zone. What makes the difference for Tom and Jennifer isn't just crunching the numbers differently, it's building a plan around the life they want to live. One that gives them room to travel, to adapt, and to enjoy the next chapter without second guessing every step. See, Tom and Jennifer are just about to retire at 65. They live in Arizona, have saved well with a $2 million portfolio, and created a spreadsheet they hoped would map out their future. It shows $9,000 per month in core expenses. This includes some travel and giving. And they have an $1,800 per month mortgage for 8 more years at 2.9% fixed rate. They're focusing on a 4% withdrawal rate, so their portfolio would give them $6,700 per month, not enough to fully meet their $10,800 per month need once the mortgage was added. And that didn't include taxes. After some conversations, they also shared that their dream was to have an extra $1,000 per month for more adventurous travel, but first they needed to meet the basics. So to fill the gap, their plan would require either both of them to file early for Social Security, or the other option was to start one Social Security and combine that with a mortgage payoff to reduce expenses. But here's the catch. Once a plan like this gets locked in, it's hard to unwind. These are big decisions, which is why it's so important to test these assumptions before you pull the trigger. So let's look at what they have now and how we made it better. Their spreadsheet had Tom filing for Social Security at 65, collecting $3,000 per month, and Jennifer at the same age collecting $2,000 per month. That would fill the income gap. But here's the issue. They didn't actually want to do that. They felt like they were forced into it to meet their needs. Because filing early meant permanently lower benefits, particularly it meant Jennifer could be left with a smaller survivor benefit. Now, I know you might be thinking, but I don't want to wait either on Social Security. And that's fair. If starting benefits earlier gives you peace of mind, that's valid. But what Tom and Jennifer realized is that there's a way to still get peace of mind while giving themselves more protection. Their preference was to defer Tom's benefit to age 60 because each year he waits, his benefit grows by 8%, and that higher benefit sticks around if Jennifer ever needs to rely on it as a survivor. Jennifer could then start earlier, around age 67. That was their ideal, but it had to fit their cash flow needs. Their plan also pushed them toward paying off the mortgage. They had $153,000 left at 2.9%. Now, don't get me wrong, we often help guide our clients towards paying off the mortgage early. But in Tom and Jennifer's case, it would have meant pulling a big chunk out of the portfolio, creating unnecessary taxes, reducing their liquidity, and forcing their withdrawal rate higher on a smaller base. So as you'll see, once we adjusted the income plan, they didn't need to pay it off. They could keep that low fixed rate and their liquidity, which gives them more flexibility without adding on more taxes. But the real breakthrough came when we ditched the flat spending model. Their spreadsheet projected the same expenses every year, adjusted for inflation, but that's not how real retirement tends to work. Spending and expenses, like the mortgage, tend to fluctuate in phases. And retirees typically go through what we call the retirement spending smile, the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. That's more travel and activity early on, still paying the mortgage, and then tapering expenses later as priorities shift and health changes. So we modeled that. With the spending curve that started higher and tapered over time, they could confidently target their ideal retirement. That's $10,800 for core expenses plus their mortgage. And the good news is that we could include an extra $1,500 per month for that dream travel as long as they have a system in place to monitor and adjust. So that permission to spend, that flexibility, it changed everything. Instead of second guessing their vacations or experiences, they could now say yes. They could move from wondering, are we okay, to now we're living our plan, not just surviving it. And if you are quick with math, yes, their new plan showed early withdrawals above 4%, even hitting 8% in the first few years. That might make you pause, and that's understandable. We've all heard about the 4% rule. But remember, it generally assumes flat spending. Tom and Jennifer's plan was more aligned with many other retirees. Flat spending just doesn't work. With flexibility of spending curves, dynamic withdrawal systems, and their preference, remember, to defer Social Security, we could start higher and then taper. This provided a personalized system to meet their spending needs rather than a straight line plan dictating what they had to do. You might be wondering, this sounds great, but what happens when, not if, the stock market drops? Well, two things are really important. First, this is where spending guardrails allow us to monitor withdrawal levels based on the value of their portfolio. So in this case, if their portfolio grows from 2 million to 2.5 million, they can increase spending by $2,500 per month. And if it drops to 1.4 million, they'd need to reduce by $500 per month. So we dynamically monitor these guardrails to stay within probability ranges that guard against overspending or even underspending. And the numbers you see are based on their current picture, but they'll shift over time depending on markets, inflation, and actual portfolio values. It's not static, it's dynamic. Their plan evolves with life. And when we test this against a 2008 level crash, we nearly hit that lower guardrail. In reality, this does happen from time to time. And in the recovery, they would have experienced a few increases. And most importantly, we have a system in place to monitor their income for sustainability. I saw this in 2008. Real life, during the great financial crisis, which was a scary time for many people. Our clients were willing to adjust. They just wanted to know when they should adjust spending and by how much. And then they adapted. But we're not done yet, because we want to improve the probabilities of success. Their original plan forced them to keep taxes low early by pulling from the taxable brokerage, but that left pre-tax IRA balances untouched, and that can present a problem. It sets them up for a big tax bomb later with big required minimum distributions at higher rates. So we flipped it. By delaying Social Security a bit and drawing from the portfolio, they entered a tax valley. It's a window to do strategic Roth conversions. And so we modeled those conversions up to just the top of the 12% bracket to spread out the tax, and then projected $147,000 in lifetime tax savings. That's money that now stays in their hands. Finally, we align their investment portfolio to match the plan. Rather than defaulting to a generic 60-40 mix or an age-based allocation, we asked Tom and Jennifer to prepare for when the stock market goes down. How many years of income do you want set aside in conservative assets? For most retirees, this is in the range of 5 to 7 years, but it can be adapted for your risk preference. This allows us to build a war chest, a structured investment allocation designed to meet income needs and manage risk. So here's how it works. The short-term bucket has 1, maybe 2 years of income in cash for immediate income stability. The midterm bucket has years 2 through 7 in high-quality, short to intermediate bonds. For Tom and Jennifer, they wanted 5 years in their war chest. So their long-term bucket allowed their investments outside of that projected 5-year income need to invest in diversified stocks for growth. This structure is meant to guard against forced selling of stocks in a downturn. This can help protect their lifestyle and allow their growth assets that needed long time frame. Combined with guardrails and dynamic withdrawals, the war chest made the plan not just sustainable, but durable. And if you want to dive deeper on the investment plan, I actually have a video recommendation for you in one moment. But first, here's the key. Tom and Jennifer came in with a spreadsheet. It was logical, it was detailed, but it was too rigid for real life. Their new plan gave them the flexibility to spend more now, protect more later, and then adjust as they go. Your plan shouldn't dictate your life. It should be built to support the life you want to live. Now, 2 things before you go. The next video you'll want to check out is here's what a $4 million retirement portfolio looks like. You can find that here. And if you'd like to talk to me and my team about your retirement plan to support your life, you can simply click on the link in the description to schedule a brief call. Thanks for watching.